Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books and bookish things. I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon central. I apologize if you can hear my air conditioning right now. It is August in Texas and it's hot, so we have AC. I'm sorry. Today I thought we would talk about the book Finding Mr. Right by Kelley Armstrong. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so coming in hot with the book blurb, we have a fun romantic comedy about a woman writing under a male pseudonym and the man she hires to play the role in public. Daphne McFadden is tired of rejection. After submitting her manuscript to dozens of agents, she's gotten rejection after rejection, and now it's time for something drastic. So Daphne submits her manuscript again, under a man's name. Imagine her surprise when it sells for big money at an auction and soon becomes a publicity darling. Only she meets a man to play her super macho alter ego, Zane Remington. Enter Chris Stanton, who absolutely looks the part of a survivalist and has talent for pressing her piss me off, I dare you buttons, while somehow being endearing at the same time. But Chris has a few secrets of his own, including the fact that he's really an accountant who has no idea how to chop wood or paddle a canoe. When Daphne's book becomes a best-selling sensation, and they're forced to go on tour together, Daphne finds herself wondering if this city boy geek is exactly what she needs to push her to claim her dreams. This book came out in 2024. It's 368 pages, about 10 hours if you listen to it on audiobook, which I did. I got it through the Libby app. And this book, I couldn't find out for sure if the author was channeling the old TV show from the 80s, Remington Steele, with Pierce Brosnan, where it's a female private investigator who isn't getting any cases until she invents a male boss named Remington Steele, and she works for him, and she hires Pierce Brosnan to play Remington Steele. I think it's very clearly inspired by it, at least on some level, because the names match, the rough outline of the story matches, and, well, the setup matches. And it's a cute premise. And this book was cute. It's very low on the spice. There's a couple of scenes that make it not fully closed door, but there's not enough detail to where I would say that this is a two chili pepper spice. I'd say it's a 1, probably. As far as the book itself goes, this book ham-fistedly shoves you in the face with women being in men's roles, women taking men's roles, blah, 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 blah. And I started reading this book after I did an author event at a local Barnes & Noble here in Dallas, where a man came up to my table and hijacked me for 10 minutes, where I wasn't able to talk to any other patrons, and basically talked about how he's an author too. And women are destroying the publishing industry because Hemingway couldn't get published today, Tolkien couldn't get published today. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure they could. And he's like, well, can you even name a male author who's putting out books? I'm like, well, there's Stephen King, there's Brandon Sanderson, there's Brandon Mull, there's John Scalzi, like, there's a lot of them. These are just the ones that I read that I can think of off the top of my head. And he's like, yeah, well, but they don't count. Like, okay, so who does count? Who is this mythical male author that I'm not supposed to have any idea if they exist or not? And it was just, essentially, all I did was say, hey, welcome in, because my table was set up right at the entrance to the bookstore. And he launched onto this diatribe about how all the books right now are all the same. And yes, there is a little bit of a TikTokification of books, and we're seeing a lot of romantasy, and we're seeing a resurgence in quote unquote what used to be called chick lit in the early 2000s. But all that to say, this book is, I just thought it was interesting that this book is making the completely opposite case as recently as a year ago to what I heard this gentleman tell me for 10 solid minutes. It's, oh, I couldn't get published because I had a woman's name on my manuscript, and it's like, it's a lot of, it felt to me like a lot of for show feminism without it being actually feminist. Like, yes, she's a good writer. That's the point. The character is a good writer, and she's been passed over, presumably because she's a woman, but you can't say for sure that that's why. First of all, a lot of this book was published in 2024, so a lot of publishing houses aren't going to take a chance on an unknown author these days. They just don't. I don't know. It seemed a little odd coming from a author who's got several books. Kelley Armstrong is not a new author on the scene. Like, essentially complaining that women can't get published. And it's the novel that Daphne McFadden, the fictional author, writes in the book is a YA romance with zombies. Like, and she's worried that it's a Hunger Games knockoff and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, but you're comparing it to the Hunger Games, which was written by a female author, and you're comparing it to Twilight, but with zombies on some pages, and that's also written by a female author. And all of the comps that are mentioned in the book are all female authored comps. And she's talking about how, like, all this, that, and the other. And it's not the next Hunger Games. Well, Hunger Games was written by a woman, and Suzanne Collins didn't write it under a male pen name. Stephanie Meyer wrote Twilight, and she didn't have to write it under a male pen name. Their works were good enough to stand on their own, and it just strikes me as odd. And it was distracting from the story. Like, I was there for a good time. Like, it's not a long book. It's not a deep book, but it was trying to be a deep book. Like, it was trying to make you think about all these things in the publishing world, and in, like, it's alluded to that, like, men always take credit for women's inventions, and historically that is true. There's a lot of inventions that were actually invented by women and didn't get proper credit. And there's a lot of producers and directors in Hollywood back in the day that didn't get proper credit for what they did. And, like, that's not new. So there is a grain of truth to it, but all of the things that she's pointing out, that this is just like what happened with blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but it didn't. The romance was cute. It felt a little forced because it's mainly based on lust. Like, the characters have nothing in common. Like, nothing in common, except that they both think the other one's hot. And that to me gets a little old. Like, if I'm not reading something that is specifically smut, I want more plot. And this one was very plot light. Like, it was mostly the whole plot revolved around the secret identity. So I'm not sure this one fits the rules of what makes a romance novel. It does have the happily ever after, which a romance novel should have the happily ever after to be a romance novel. But the driving plot of the force, the driving motivation for the characters was not the romance. It was the secret identity. And the romance was just an afterthought. So I would say it's not a true romance genre book. I would say it's a contemporary book with a heavy romance side plot, with a heavy romance subplot. That it's a contemporary novel with a romance bend to it. That the driving force in the characters isn't, can we be together? That the main focus of the conflict isn't, why can't we be together? It's, well, how do we keep people from figuring out the secret identity? Which, if that's the main motivation, it's not a romance book. So it was a little bit of false advertising, which this book seems a little meta, because this book talks about how having a female author write under a male author is false advertising. And I'm like, no, it's a pen name. No one feels cheated when they find out that actors aren't using their real name. So why would you feel cheated when you find out that an author isn't using their real name? Like, one of my favorite book series as a kid was the Series of Unfortunate Events, written by Lemony Snicket. Of course, they weren't written by Lemony Snicket. No one has named their child Lemony Snicket. That's not a real name. That's a pen name. I love Jane Austen. She originally published her books under a lady, not Jane Austen. So, and I would read them whether they're published under a lady or under Jane Austen or whatever. Charlotte Bronte published under Currer Bell. Like, there are, like, it just felt like, it felt very juvenile and misunderstanding of writing and publishing and all of these myths that people think about writing and publishing, and the author reinforces them. That, oh, if you write under a pen name, the audience will feel cheated. It's like, no, they won't, because it's a pen name. Like, no one, as far as I'm aware, no one felt cheated when they found out that Richard Bachman was Stephen King. Sorry, spoilers, if you haven't read The Dark Half. Like, it's a pen name. It is what it is. And this book has, like I said, it's a very plot-light book, and it's very much on the women can do anything, but men hold them down. And, like, but it's told in such a rom-com-y, oh, he's a man and he has to rescue me because I'm just a woman. Except that she gets mad when he does that. Like, she's happy when he does that, and then she's mad when he does that. So she set the precedence that this is a good thing for him to do, and then she's mad when he does it again. And the main character, Daphne McFadden, just felt very fickle and very wishy-washy in a lot of the things that she wants. Like, she has no idea what she wants. And that's fine. You don't have to have it all figured out. But you don't get to yell at other people for realizing you like them to do X, and so they do X again, and then you're mad because they did X. Like, you don't get to do that. Like, you don't get to be mad at somebody for doing something that you have established a history and a pattern of telling them that you like them doing, without telling them, hey, I'd like the pattern to change. Hey, I'd like us to stop doing XYZ and do ABC instead. Like, you're changing the rules mid-game and then getting mad when he's not playing by your prescribed rules anymore. And Chris, the male character, never gets upset at this. He's like, I understand, I wasn't thinking, but... And I was like, no, you can get upset at this. She's changing the rules mid-game. That's frustrating. And he's never frustrated. He's never angry. He's just calm and cool and supportive the whole book, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That's great. We love a non-toxic man, but he's to the point where it's not just a non-toxicity, that it's passive. And it just made me wonder what would happen, because I always like to think in my romance novels, which this isn't a true romance novel, but I digress. What happens to the characters after we close the book? Would these two stay together? And they have nothing in common. She has no idea what she wants. He only wants to be with her. That's his sole motivation, is to be with her. So it's a romance on his side, but it's not on her side. It's all about lust and what the other one looks like. Oh, and she flies off the handle on him for doing what she told him she likes it when he does. Yeah, I don't think these two would stay together. I don't think they have any business being together longer than a fling, which is what she says she wants at the beginning. And he's like, no, I want a relationship. And she's like, okay, I want a relationship too. And it's like, I thought you wanted a fling. Like, that's okay. Like, this book was incredibly frustrating, and it felt like it was trying to be something more than it is, without actually putting in the work to be more than it is. Like, a lot of romance books can make commentary and say things about topics that are very serious, and they do it well. This book did not. This book, it just felt very amateur hour to me. This is a 2-star from me. I'm very disappointed in it. I got it from my local library, so I didn't pay for it, but I kind of wish I had checked out something else instead. Have you read Finding Mr. Right? Did you like it? Or did you feel like the message got in the way of the story? Like it was too much of a morality play? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.